Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Excuse Me, I'm Speaking, hosted by the one, the only, y'all, who else could I be talking about? I'm going to hype myself up. Yeah, it's me, your host, the one that does the most, but y'all love it. Call me Twinkle, call me Antoinette, call me SheIsTwinkle. It doesn't matter which name you say, as long as you're calling my name. That's all that matters to me. Yeah, I am excited for today's episode. So let me just go ahead and jump into my mood check for the day. Now, my mood is excitement, but that is because of the most nerd-like thing in the world, so don't judge me. I am excited because I'm nerding out because I got new microphones today and new podcast equipment, and this is my first time using the equipment, and hopefully it helps with the quality of the audio. So yeah, I'm just super excited over that. Anywho, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the question of the day. Today's question of the day is in honor of Women's History Month, since it is still the month of March. And the question is, if you could spend 24 hours with one female celebrity, who would you choose and why? I believe that I would want to spend that with Sarah Jakes Roberts. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with who she is a co-pastor with her husband, Torrey Roberts, and they co-pastor the Potter's House 1 LA and the Potter's House Denver. My why would be because I feel like I can relate to her on so many levels. And so you know how sometimes you just wish you had someone to like pick their brain, and maybe someone who has been in similar situations as you have in life, and they can understand life from your perspective, but you see that they're succeeding. Like, how do you like learn and grow and evolve? And so I want to spend 24 hours with a celebrity so that I can evolve, not be the same person after the 24 hours is over. So for Sarah Jakes, I believe she is the oldest out of all of her siblings. She is a wife. She's an author, in which I will be here shortly. Also, she grew up in the church, like from birth, and her dad is a pastor. Fun fact, she also is a Cancer because her birthday is July 17th. I looked it up online. I tried to figure out why we seem to have so much in common. Yes, we both are July babies, so July 9th for me. Anywho, that is the celebrity I would want to spend time with because I feel like I could really use a lot of wisdom from her. And she's a businesswoman as well. And she's just so motivating and inspiring. Side note, I did actually meet her in person one time, which also makes me believe that she is a celebrity that I'd want to spend 24 hours with, because I think that everything happens in life for a reason. So when she came to Kansas City, Missouri, I believe it was on her like Women Evolve tour or something like that, and she spoke, and she just like breaks down like scriptures in the Bible just so different from anyone I've ever heard before. And it's like intriguing, and she's a great speaker. And to look at her, and she was born in 1988 and I was born in 90. So we're around the same age as well. And just like knowing her story and her different struggles that she's been through. Yeah, we have really good seats, and we sat on the second row, and we just knew that the seats in front of us, they had reserved signs on them. Like nobody could sit there. But I'm thinking that's somebody that paid like special VIP prices. Like they get to sit on the very front row, which second row is not that much of a difference. Whatever. So they're having praise and worship and all that. And all of a sudden, Sarah Jakes comes out with her husband and sits on the front row right in front of me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I was like, you know what? Act natural, act normal. Like, she's a celebrity. I'm an important person too. Anywho, but Next thing you know, it turns around in the middle of it and she hugs my mom, my cousin, and then she hugs me. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this really happening right now? Like, oh, that was so sweet. I feel like this is a God moment. Like we were supposed to interact like this, okay? And then she hugs my sister after me. And I was just like, she is such a cool and down-to-earth person. And I would just love to pick her brain. You know, we can talk about fashion. We can talk about faith. We can talk about business, career, what it was like growing up in the church, being the oldest child, being a pastor's daughter, all of those things. And just really just evolving and living and growing and developing throughout her life and everything that has happened. Oh my gosh. And she has a podcast too. So that is my answer to the question of the day. Once again, if you guys could please give me your responses to the question of the day. Now, this does have to be a female celebrity because it is still Women's History Month. But as always, please send me your comments, your DMs to my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at SheIsTwinkle1. And I would love to hear your response to this question. All right now, so we're just going to quickly move into some updates. So I like to give you guys updates from the last pod that I put out. I have some news. So on the last podcast, I did announce that it is possible that former President Trump could be going to jail. That was his educated guess as well. Well, the entire week has gone by and he is as free as can be, as I previously predicted as well, because they just can't put chains on him. I don't understand. But anywho, so there's still some people out there talking about it. They're skeptical. They're thinking maybe it'll happen. It just didn't happen when he thinks it will. But, you know, if you've been dodging a bullet all these years, then it's probably not going to happen. But anywho, on to more positive news. I do have another update. So at the end of last week's episode, my husband and I had said that we were going to go ahead and watch Queen's Court, which is on Peacock. And that was with the singer Tamar Braxton and with Nivea and then with reality star Evelyn Lozada. Yeah, we watched it. It is 10 episodes long and it is not easy to watch in one night. So if you're a binger like myself, you still won't be able to get through it in one night. But they are like 45-minute to like an hour-long episodes. And I have to say, it was actually like quality dating TV. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I want to let you guys know. Go ahead, go watch it. It is great. Now, moving on to more streaming. Before I get like deep into what today's topic is, the newest season of Love is Blind, season 4, came out this past Friday. Now, I'm not going to spoil it for you and tell you everybody that, you know, made it out of the pods that's engaged. But there is a specific discussion topic I do want to speak on. So, as we know, on Love is Blind, they start off in the pods. The pods are basically, it's one room and there's a wall in between them and they can hear each other. They like fall in love with each other's minds, basically, and their stories and who this person is at the core without seeing them. Then once they propose to one another, it's usually the man that proposes, but sometimes like you get a woman that's like, I am woman, hear me roar. I want to propose to you, whatever. We'll talk about that on another day. But once the man proposes, then the next day, then they have like an official reveal where like the sliding doors open on both sides and they walk out and they see each other and you are like shocked at their responses because they're natural reactions, because you're trying to see if the voice matches up to the face and the body that you imagine. Okay. So after that part, all of the couples that actually like turn out to be engaged couples, they go on a week-long honeymoon, I believe. And so this season, the honeymoon was in Mexico. So, you know, for the first couple of days, they're just spending that time with each other because they're trying to go from the mental connection to the physical connection. And so they just spend the first couple of days with each other. And then, you know, after about 3 days or so, they are going to have some type of group activity where there's going to be usually like the pool and drinks and conversation or music or whatever. And it's a little mixer for them to then reconnect with all the other couples. Now, mind you, these other couples may also have been like other people that they had dates with when they were in the pods. So now they're able to see people for the first time as well. And they're like, wow, I had no idea you look like that. Or, oh, you look exactly how you sound. Okay. So here's the discussion topic. One of the couples, it was a man and a woman, and the woman, she's a little feisty in her personality already, and she's usually like fun to watch. So she is at the pool with another one of the couples, and they're like happy. They've greeted each other, hugged each other, all of that. Now we see the third couple walking into the pool area, and they're like starting to like scream and get all excited and like, oh, basically there goes my friend, because all the women could see each other and all the men could see each other, but they hadn't seen the opposite sex yet. So now one of the women, who she is now there with her fiance that chose her in the pod, and she said yes, she sees another one of the males that he has a fiance as well, and he is walking up to them, and she lifts up her sunglasses and she was like, oh my gosh, he is fine. Now, mind you, she is saying this about someone else's fiance, while her fiance is standing right next to her. So her fiance naturally looked at her like caught off guard, and he was like, what did you say? And she's like, Brett, oh, he is fine. And then her fiance responds, because I'm waiting on pins and needles, and he's like, yeah, I told you he was a good looking guy. Bruh. And then that stopped me in my tracks. And so this is the discussion, a quick discussion topic I wanted to have, because I know that there are a lot of couples out here that actually react this way. So like, let's break this down, because to some people, they think that that just means that you're comfortable and you don't have a problem with your significant other commenting on the opposite sex and what they look like, and just like saying it right in front of you. Now me, I don't care. Judge me. I am different. Like, I am fully aware that like when you get engaged to somebody, or even if you're just in a relationship with them, I don't even care if like we were just on a date and you're not even like fully committed to me. I am aware that you have eyes and I have eyes. And just because you're with somebody doesn't mean that all of a sudden everybody else becomes ugly or they're unattractive, or like you just, I only have eyes like for you. Yeah, like your eyes should be focused on me, but like you can visibly see other people, and there are other attractive people in this world. Also, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it could be somebody that I think is like, yeah, she's simple. But to the person, like if I was even on like just a date with somebody, and like this is like way before I got married and I'm not even committed to this person, but if they were to comment on another woman and be like, oh man, she is bomb, she is banging, she is fine, I would be like, excuse me? Like, what? So now let's like take that up a notch. Your fiance is standing right next to you and you lift up your glasses like, I got to get a good look, and you say he is fine, and then your fiance asks you again, and then you double down and say it again, and then his response is, oh, I told you he's a good looking guy. I think that is like the weirdest thing in the world. Like, I think it is so disrespectful. Like, you can think that and everything, but like, why are you? Because to me, it looks like you're like lusting over them. Like, I'm standing right here. Like, if you want to go and, if I were her fiance, I'd be like, I mean, if you want to go and talk to him, I mean, you may as well. Like, you're already like thinking this out in your mind. Like, because you didn't react to me like that when you saw me. But now right in front of me, you would like disrespect me and our relationship and what we have. Like, I think that there's boundaries that are necessary in every single relationship. And that is like definitely one of mine. I can like speak for my husband too, because we had this conversation. We were watching it together. We actually had to rewind because we could not believe like what we had just heard. It was a mess. Y'all, I really want to know how y'all feel about that. I've talked to other people and they're like, oh yeah, Me and my wife, like, we see people out in public. We're like, oh man, like, oh, she has a big butt, or oh, he has like nice muscles, nice arms, or oh, she has beautiful legs. And I'm like, I think that's odd, and I think that's awkward. And like, I understand some people might be thinking it in their head, but like, even still, like, if you get lost going down that mindset, that thought cycle, then like, you're going to get stuck there. And is that opening up your mind to other like temptations, or you're thinking about another person or lusting over them? Like, shouldn't you focus on what you have? it just kind of like confuses me. Like, I can see someone else attractive in public, but I'm also here with, in my eyes, like the most attractive man in the room, like, no, which would be my husband. Like, nobody else I can see in public. Like, yeah, looks is one thing, but like, you have no idea who that person is. They could be a horrible person on the inside, and then all of a sudden their looks will fade. So like, when you know what you have, then like, why would you jeopardize that? Like, why would you open up the door for that? Because then you make that become a norm in your relationship. And now, oh, this is what we do. We people watch and we comment on it, and we'll talk about how attractive and how fine and how like sexy this other person is, and which is also like disrespecting our relationship. So no, I think there's limits, and when people don't have limits, they don't have boundaries, and then the relationship usually falls off the cliff. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, I would love to know y'all opinions. I wish I had a co-host on this week's episode, because this would be a great dialogue rather than monologue. But hey, y'all let me know. Give me a call, send me a text, or hit me up on social media. Anywho, so moving on to the meat of the show. Yeah, this week I was trying to think of a topic that would be suitable for the show, just based off of my own life and something I could share that could possibly help others in the pod. And so what caught my attention was, this past week I did go back to visit my alma mater, which is the university, the college I graduated from. Shout out to KU, University of Kansas. And let me just add in really quick. We say KU, but it is the University of Kansas. So many people have said, oh, you go to Kansas University? Like, no, I don't even know why it's KU, even though it's the University of Kansas, but we can't say I go to the UK. Like, yeah, okay. Anywho, but not to be confused with Kansas State University, which are the Wildcats, which that's a no-go in my book. But anywho, so I guess y'all have caught on to the fact that I'm talking about colleges, right? So as I went back to visit my college campus, like, I was amazed at what I saw. Y'all should try that. If any of y'all have graduated from college, go back 10 years later and look to see how much things have changed. Hopefully they actually have, because then they're using the tuition dollars and they're growing and they're excelling. Great. So at KU, of course, like, we did really great in football this past year, and the basketball program brings a ton of money. The medical program is amazing. Engineering, like, I could just go on and on and on. So, of course, a lot of dollars are being poured into the school, which is great. And I see that it's being used because there's a lot more dorm room buildings. They have like completely torn down buildings and rebuilt them. There's new buildings for classes that have gone up as well. So the money is definitely being well spent. And so we actually went inside one of the buildings, and the facilities are like all the way up to date. Like, I can commend them for the amount of work and effort they've put into the school. So now that leads me to the question that I've gotten quite a few times from seniors from high school, or just kids that are younger and they're trying to decide, like, should I start thinking about college? Should I take this ACT, SAT? I know a lot of kids are still like doing that right now around this time of the year. Even some young adults who maybe they didn't go directly to college, but now they're trying to figure out, like, what do I want to do with my life? And then some of those like older adults as well too, where they go back to college later in life. Now, a lot of them do it online. They don't go on campus, but some of them do. So the question I get from all of those different categories of people is college worth it? I can only speak from my experience. So I guess when I hear the word worth, what exactly are you looking for? Like, what holds like weight to you? Like, what means something? What are you trying to get out of it? If you're talking about the dollar amount and the American dream that we're sold, that you go to college, you graduate, and you are guaranteed a great paying job, and you're going to live the American dream, and kudos to you. That's all you need. That, if that is what you're going for, that is not worth it to me. Unless you have like money in the bank to pay for it, which is a ridiculous amount of money, and it only increases every year. If you're going for that because that is your expectation, to me, that is not worth it, because that is not what happens the majority of the time. You're going to graduate and you're going to have this degree, but you may not necessarily have the experience. In the real world, I've learned that the experience plus the education is what really works in your favor. So maybe down the line, it will be worth it to you. But as soon as you get out of school and they want you to start paying back those student loans because you're supposed to have this great high-paying job, that's just probably not going to happen. But that is not the case for everybody. So if I look at it on a deeper level, there are so many other things that I gained from going to college beyond just my degree that I think was 100% worth it, and that a lot of people, especially young adults and like graduating seniors from high school, could definitely benefit from. So, number one, I think as far as young adult development and finding yourself, that is 1000% worth it. When you are a person like myself, where you go away to college, you are no longer attached to your home, like that home base, and which would be kind of like your like safety net. Like you're used to living there. You're used to going to school from home from elementary, middle, and high school. Now you have to literally leave the nest and go to another city, and you're dropped into this melting pot with all of these different types of people, all ethnicities, backgrounds. It's not college classes anymore. So you think like, oh, this is going to be easy. I only have 3 classes today, because when I was in high school, I had like 6 different classes or 8 periods. No. You have 3 classes. But in my case, that first class, 9:30 in the morning, great. But there are 300 people in the class. So if you're not there, nobody cares. But if you keep that mindset the entire semester, you are going to fail. Was that worth it? You're not getting that money back. You still will owe that money whether you have a degree or not. So a part of that adult development is like you have to learn like time management. You have to learn discipline. You have to learn how to interact with all of these different types of people and figure out like who you are as a young adult. Like, how do I want to be perceived? Do I want to hang around this group of people or this group of people? Or am I comfortable by myself? I have to open myself up to get to know people. Sometimes you have to have study partners. You have to ask questions, because a college campus is gigantic. You're not going to know everything when you first get there. So you kind of have to learn like, who can I trust and who can I not trust? If you live in an apartment at some point, or maybe even like student housing, you still may need like some type of groceries. You're not going to always have a food plan. So you're going to have to learn how to grocery shop by yourself. You're going to have to learn how to move around the city by yourself. Do you have a car? Do you not have a car? You're going to have to learn how to use different resources around you and literally network with people. Those are the things that you don't realize you're doing, but it's because it's kind of like survival mode. Like you have to do that in order to like get through your college years. So that's a part of that adult development and growth that I think is necessary. Now, of course, that can be learned in other ways as well. Like you don't have to go to college to learn that. Some people go and they get a trade, or even like some of them live at home for a period of time and they'll budget and they're still going to buy groceries on their own and they'll figure it out. Great. But like when you leave the nest, you have no choice but to like learn and grow and figure it out on your own. Now, Another thing that I think was 100% worth it in my college experience was developing that desire, that strong desire to learn and grow and research. And so I'm talking about academically. So a major part of college is research, research, research. No matter what field of study you choose to get your degree in, you're going to have to learn how to research for certain assignments, for certain papers, group projects, all of that. And that is a skill that you really hone in on after being in college for however many years it takes you to get your degree. And that is a skill that you can't pay for that anywhere else. That is, I still research till this day. I want to educate myself. You're constantly learning in a college environment, whether that's in the classroom or outside of the classroom, because you have to do things on your own. I would say the deeper you get into your college studies and into your coursework, especially your major, then the need to research is increased even more so. And your teachers will start to expect more out of you. The quality of the papers and the assignments that you turn in will increase drastically. So I would say research was the second major thing that was worth it to me. And then the third thing that was definitely worth it to me with my time as a college student would be being able to connect with other Black intellectuals. That was major to me. So I just had a conversation about that this past week, actually, with my husband, because we both went up to our college. That's where we met. And we were reminiscing on where we used to attend BSU meetings. So that stands for Black Student Union. And it was an amazing experience for me, and he agreed as well, because in the time that we were there on campus, all of the other Black students that attended the Black Student Union, that had the same mindset as we did. Whereas Black Student Union wasn't a joke of any sort. We really talked about real issues that were happening in the world or on campus or in the workforce as it relates to Black students, Black career-minded or career-driven individuals. And we had a lot of great dialogue, and we watched a lot of different movies and resources, and sometimes they'd have different speakers come in. And just that hour we took out of our week, out of our day, every Monday each week, was 1,000% worth it, because you got to see other people that look like you and thought like you. And it was a safe space to learn and grow from each other, and then to develop ideas as to how you could improve your community or improve your campus, or what can you bring to the table just for the people that are looking for the same, type of social interaction as you. So I always preach that to other young Black students that I know that are in college. Please join an organization that is also networking that can help you outside of college as well. Anywho, yeah, I definitely don't want to bore you to death, but my very last thing would be college was definitely worth it to build those long-lasting, meaningful relationships. Some people leave college with best friends. Some of them leave college with boyfriends. Some of them leave college with references for jobs. And then some, like myself, leave college with fiancés that become your husband 2 weeks later. So as far as the money and the American dream of, is college worth it? I'm going to make all this money. No. I wish somebody would have told me that. But I can't throw the experience away for that very reason. Everything else that I gained from it meant so much more and weighed so much more and was worth so much more. I know that this was a college-based conversation. That's because that was my experience. There are a million other ways, and I would definitely like to hear from you how you just grew as a young adult, as an individual, if you took a different route. But in my case, should you go to college? Should you not go to college? Analyze your life and see what's important to you. If you're going to take college seriously and you're going to do the work and you're going to get through it and your expectations are realistic after graduation, then by all means, because you'll get so much more than just that degree out of the experience. But anywho, getting to some quick wrap-ups. So, of course, I had to say it one more time to put it out there for you guys. Love is Blind, Season 4. The first 5 episodes came out this past Friday. It is really juicy, really good this season. Even more scandalous than last season. There might be a lot more twists and turns this season than last as well. So definitely check that out. Spinning off of the Love is Blind series, there's actually a new podcast out there. And I'm saying it's streaming news because, I guess podcast is streaming as well. But 2 of the contestants from Love is Blind, and I believe that was the 2nd season, they have started their own podcast. So 2 of the women, they are not with their men that they chose anymore. Go watch the 2nd season. You'll see all about that. But Deep T and Natalie, they now are starting their own podcast called Out of the Pods. Get it? Play on the pods and Love is Blind and podcasts. Anywho, so they have new episodes every Monday. So I'm going to check that out, and you guys should check it out as well. And I'll let you know if it's even worth it to listen. But their podcast is 100% focused on Love is Blind recaps. So they might be worth listening to. Anywho, and then the last thing in streaming news is Yellow Jackets Season 2 on Showtime. The first episode came out this past Friday. New episodes every Friday. And that show is mind-bending, mind-twisting. It is craziness, and it is so freaking good. Season 2 is back, and I'm just so excited. You never know where this show is going. Of course, it's the premise. Season 1 started off with a team of young high school soccer players, and it was all girls, and their plane crashed in the middle of the woods, and they were literally stuck there for, I forgot how long now. It was I think it was 2 years actually. And the fact that there were survivors, and it was in Canada where they got stuck, and there was no civilization. Yeah. There's a lot of skepticism out there. So it's showing their younger versions and then their current adult versions. It is the craziest, twisted show ever. Yeah. If you just like crazy stuff and survival stuff, and some people die and some people just come up missing, this is the show for you. There has been a lot of talk about possible cannibalism, because how could they survive for 2 years in the wild? And there was no more bears and wolves and squirrels for them to catch. Yeah, there was a moment at the end of this first episode for the 2nd season where you understand why, and it all begins. And it is a cringeworthy moment, and you should definitely watch it on Showtime if you have a chance, Fridays, okay? Yeah. Now, last but certainly not least, of course, I end each episode with a quote of the day. So, harkening back to the beginning of the podcast, the celebrity that I would love to spend 24 hours with, Sarah Jakes Roberts, is our feature spotlight of the day. This quote comes directly from her. The quote is, "One detour doesn't cancel your destination." I'm going to say that one more time. One detour doesn't cancel your destination. And that is a little, but it says a lot, all in one short, sweet, simple sentence. Anywho, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Excuse Me, I'm Speaking. As always, follow me on Instagram at SheIsTwinkle1. Send me your DMs, your comments. Click follow or subscribe so that you can get notifications whenever my weekly podcasts come out. I should be here next week, but it may be a vacation week, so you never know. But I definitely will keep you guys updated through social media. And until next time, bye-bye. Love you all.